We're live. This week in AI, Claude broke into 3 real companies during what was supposed to be a routine safety test. A memory chip company just became more valuable than China's biggest bank. And the biggest AI model ever built just went open source, technically. Assuming you happen to own a warehouse of GPUs, however. We're breaking all this down on this edition of Artificially Informed. I am your host, Logan Edmonds.
And I am Patrick Herter with Your Network Security.
Yeah,
the dustpan in the background is just distracting me.
We call this the broom closet, and broom closet. We're gonna dive in. Actually, this week, I think this is the most hot takeiest edition we've had in a while. I have many hot takes in the back of my head and gut reactions, so we're gonna have some fun with this, I think. Let's go with our first story for today, which is Europe has moved its own AI deadline, but it's not the one you needed moved. Patrick, what's going on in the good old EU?
So the EU is always ahead of us in some legislative areas because they can move things a little bit faster. But I think reality kind of hit them square between the eyes. The scary rules that they had proposed for governing AI and requiring businesses to do things has really gotten delayed, except for one, which actually is the one like common sense rule. So they had a bunch of high risk rules published in August of 2026 that were supposed to take effect here in this next coming week. Most of those have been pushed into next year, like the end of next year or the year after 2028. Still hitting the one common sense rule that they're hitting. And this is what I think even US I would be in favor of something like this. Companies must disclose when a person is dealing with, like a client is dealing with an AI or looking at something that AI made, some sort of like label disclosure.
I would agree with that, although that's definitely not going to be popular with the AI companies right now because of the current political climate. Honestly, the reality of it is this is something we're grappling with too, which is common sense AI. Depending on who you talk to, what does common sense entail with regulating AI, it wildly varies. And that's not a political statement. It just depends on your perspective, how much you know, what industry you're in, even among the pro-regulations people, right? People who are hard, like they're wanting to regulate it in the United States, you hear 2 different objectives. One is, economic socialism, essentially, like we're afraid it's going to take people's jobs is one there is. And the other is, no, we're afraid that, it's going to eat all of our resources, energy, pollution. Like the end goals we're shooting for here are just so wildly different. And it doesn't feel that sometimes people really overestimate how fast humanity adapts to new technology. I know we've been talking about this for a few years, guys. 5 years is breakneck lightning speed in the historical context of a technology taking over like this. This is unprecedented, and it truly is. I can't think, there's not a single technology that's come out this fast and changed this much, this quickly, already changed.
Oh, for sure. And I would say for the general public, this change has been 2 years or less.
When we did the electrical grid, we had 50 years to process electricity was a modern fact of life. When we did the telecoms grid, we had 20 to 30 years to get high-speed internet kind of adjust that. Even the internet age, like we had more than a decade, more than that, it took like 20 years, honestly, for internet to really become kind of a, between 1990 to the early 2000s, like internet really took its stride, right? Like in the late 2000s.
Like my career.
Yeah, like that's the timeline as a species we're used to dealing with. This is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, let's go to our next subject. Can you scroll down for me, please?
Yep.
So a lot of companies really overestimate or underestimate how many apps they have in their environment. So what I love to talk to, and we do this all the time, right? We talk with businesses and business owners, and we go, how many subscriptions do you have, right? And they answer,
Two, three.
2 or 3. And then we open up the hood of their Microsoft or their Google, and they have 186 applications registered to the tenant, right? Like that, it's just so disproportionate. And because everybody's seen it, right? That convenient little sign in with Microsoft button, that convenient little sign in with Google button. Hey, I trust my executive assistant. If she says she needs something to do her job right, I don't care. Just get it done. Here's a budgeted debit card, right? Or my managers or whatever. Like before you know it, you have all of these applications sprawled throughout your environment. And here's the challenge. It's been new. We've been dealing with shadow IT, what, a decade now, Patrick? This app problem,
Oh yeah.
probably at least.
Yep.
Like at least a decade. But now all these apps are adding AI integration. So all this data is being ingested and pumped into training models, and all this data is contaminating other sources of data. These applications are in this weird incestuous relationship. So we have a two-found problem. One, it's consistently underestimated how much is in there. But two, now we have a new thing, which is if somebody puts the wrong prompt and the wrong thing, they can purge data they never intended. It absolutely is a problem. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is actually counting. Like the core of cybersecurity is, can I name it and can I count it, right? Like counting how many servers you have, counting how many applications you have, counting how many people have access to what. Like you need to take a proper inventory of everything in your environment and at least have a realistic understanding of this is what I have going on before you can ever go about managing it and securing it. So we have a special offer for that. We'll do it for you. If you're using Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, we have a cybersecurity analysis and a technology analysis that will literally take full inventory of everything you've got going on in your environment when it's connected to Microsoft or Google, give you a breakdown of what it thinks is missing, if there are any security misconfigurations, anything that is suspicious, and generate a nice, pretty report for you to review with one of our cybersecurity analysts. If you're interested in going through this, check out the promo code at the top. I think it's above Patrick's head on my screen. QR code's above his head. And there's also a promo code we are offering you today. Promo code RISK50, all one word, uppercase, RISK50. That will give you knock off $50 off the cost. Get a good idea of what you're dealing with, take action, and then you're the one driving, not having all these applications drive you.
For sure.
Okay. Let's move to our next story, and I'll change the QR code back. Yeah, I have so many feelings about this.
Yeah, this one took a little bit of our green room. We kind of like, we have to get to the live show.
Claude thought the headline is Claude thought it was practicing. In reality, 3 companies got hacked for real. I will lead this with saying this is very suspicious timing to announce this, especially since the time it happened was apparently February of 2025. Because if those of you who pay attention to our show probably heard last week, OpenAI announced, hey, our AI was so good, it hacked a competitor all by itself, right? Look at our AI. And then a week ago, look at our AI, it can hack too.
A year ago.
A year ago, this feels, I had someone on, I was following one of the LinkedIn lunatic threads, and this was a theory, but I actually think it might be not too far from the truth, which is, look, investors, look how powerful and scary our AI is, right? Like, because especially in the current economic climate and the market pressures they're facing, I think this feels more advertisement. That's my take. It feels like it's supposed to paint a narrative for somebody who's not us to get their attention.
It's hard to see sometimes with these stories, and you get this with 2 legal cases that hit big in the news, and then you go, how could this happen with parents? And you dig in, and it turns out, well, if you knew the situation, it wasn't that far-fetched.
No,
but something like this.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's not being the person with the skin in the game. I just feel like I'm playing somebody else's game.
And if you read this story, so the breakdown for our viewers, Anthropic hacked their Opus 4.7 model back when they were testing it in 2025, which that model is no longer the main model anymore. They're up to 5 now. Went out and hacked 3 companies. But when you look at what they actually did, it's not really a testament to how powerful the model is. It's more a testament to how Swiss cheese, duct tape, and super glue the American cybersecurity is for companies as a whole. Like, we know this as practitioners. We go out to companies all the time, and they talk a big game, but when you open up the hood, they have tons of issues that are, if someone knows where to look, going to be a bad day for them, right? And they've
Yep.
basically just been counting for years that there's so many fish in the sea, nobody's going to look. Well, I think that this points to is the problem I see is not how powerful the AI is and how sophisticated it is at hacking. It's just, look at what it did. It fished them, right? It tweaked the download to put malware and try to convince them to download it. It exploited vulnerabilities that weren't patched. It used tried and true methods that have been around for a decade, like SQL injection. That's been a problem for a decade at this point. It just found companies that didn't have robust security measures in place and exploited them. That's the danger. It can do what humans can do, which is already kind of easy, but it can do it at scale with perfect memory, perfect energy, perfect recall, and just keep hitting everyone. The whole I'm just another fish in the sea and rolling the probability dice, that's what shifted. In my opinion, in the next 18 months, it's all but guaranteed an AI model, especially with these open source models, which we're going to talk about in the future, becoming so cheap and easy to run, is going to take a swipe at you. Because there's only, 4 billion static IPs on the internet, something like that, IPv4. That's not a huge number for an AI to comb through over a reasonable time of a week or two.
Right. Yeah. And this is one thing I tell customers and potential customers, when it regards to not trying to scare somebody, but just putting some reality in there. Given enough of a time horizon over the existence of your business, you're statistically certain to be attacked at some point. So, it's worthwhile having protections in place, not just assuming you're an uninteresting target. I mean, if AI can just go out and hit 9,000 targets because it's doing a test and compromise 13.
Yeah. I think this is going to force the entire industry of security to mature, or businesses to ensure to a certain baseline. This is sadly the thing that's going to cause what is the saying, the straw that breaks the camel's back. A lot of businesses have held off investing in basic security measures, and now that it's not a human that's their adversary, but a robot that, like you said, can condense timelines and just keep going 24/7 nonstop, you don't have a choice. It's sort of like saying you haven't put, a fire extinguisher in your back room. Sooner or later, when something catches on fire, there's no one to blame but yourself. You didn't go out and put the bare minimum investment in, or you didn't bother to repair your roof after 30 years, and then you get sad because your roof starts leaking. Like, roofs don't. It's one of those. It's going to become a common sense life investment to put basic security in place.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, let's move to our next story. We talked about open source, and this is super controversial. I think this is actually probably the most entertaining story we have this week. So the headline is, I want you to talk about this, Patrick. The biggest AI model ever that's ever been built is free. But good luck downloading it and good luck running it.
As Adam Sandler would say, for free. Moonshot AI, the Kimi model K3, 2.8 trillion parameters, is a 1.5 terabyte download, and most laptops don't even have that much space to get it. But in order to run it, even if you were to download the thing, you're going to need 64 AI chips, which I don't know. What's the current market rate on that? Oh, more than my house.
You can't even buy them if you want them. They're all reserved. Like, good luck. Like, this is not, that was what made me laugh, was like, it's not like DeepSeek. Like, a year ago, DeepSeek went for free. I did think it was pretty cool, right? Like, oh, if I have like a really tricked out Mac Mini, that's reasonable. It's a little expensive still. Like, go get like a $4,000 computer, but you can run DeepSeek on it. I'm like, okay, I can see that being, kind of a big thing. This feels like a PR stunt. I'm like, unless you're a very specific business that's not already in the AI space, almost nobody's gonna be able to take advantage of this.
Right. But it's kind of funny because this is a bit of a cultural thing, and I'm calling it. I am predicting that there's going to be a movie, like a James Bond movie out there, where the rich evildoer has his mansion, and he opens up the secret door, and he's got this whole collection of guns mounted on the glass casing on the wall. It's just going to be like, hey, check out this rack full of my AI chips running Kimi K3. All the things they can do with it.
Make me a robot butler that makes me beer. Until you do that, I don't care. No, I mean, honestly, this is cool in the sense that It is so controversial and so counterintuitive that China is leading the open source push, because open source is what I believe one of the few sustainable ways of AI. I am, I'm a bit of a detractor right now in terms of, as we go through these stories week after week, month after month, that the centralized model of these AI providers, that they're trying to put everything in our closed models with our one company. I think more and more it's not going to work out well for us, like financially speaking, otherwise. Open source is a viable alternative, and it's by default more transparent. Like, go to Anthropic and ask them to look at the code. Good luck, right? With open source models, I can pull up the Git and literally do my own code review. Because for all the people who are saying, well, China's a cybersecurity threat. Yeah, but it's open source. You can literally, as long as you have the right people, look at the code yourself and see if there's any of these backdoors or security vulnerabilities that can be exploited yourself. You get full transparency, which is the biggest argument I think Chinese companies have in their favor is, you might not trust the Chinese government. We're not asking you to trust. You can verify yourself. Like, that's their argument right now. And I don't think the narrative of China versus the United States is an honest narrative. I think it's disingenuous, because in terms of the AI race specifically, not the rest of it, I don't have time to get into the rest of it. The AI race specifically, what it is, however, is a threat, because there are about 5 AI companies that are all competing with each other right now in the United States, racing for general artificial intelligence, Gen AI. Only one of them can win in this race. The goal is to get payroll money. We need an AI that can be as good as a human, so we can divert payroll money. That's the only way they can get this ridiculous return on investment. But more and more consistently, what I'm seeing is LLMs, the general consensus in the AI enthusiast community and the AI professional community, are a dead end for general AI. Like, there's no way to take the current large language models and create an AI at that level. Like, it just doesn't, it's not possible. We need to go back to the drawing board. And so they're in this rat race where they need more and more money to fund these operations in order to reach that Gen AI. They see this as an existential threat. If someone beats them to that, it'll be put out of business. And what these open AI models do, they pressure them. They speed up the timeline of money being diverted from these giant machines that are not sustainable. That's the threat, in my opinion. And that is just a hot take, but open source models, that's why, when the United States government started talking about how dangerous the open source model is, we get an open letter from Microsoft and Apple and all these other guys like, no, this is legit. We need this stuff, because if we don't, we have to put all the power in one of 2 or 3 companies for everything AI related. And these companies do not have our best interest at heart. And from a corporate level, they will absolutely bludgeon other companies to death if they become the only player in the ground. Like, Apple and Microsoft are not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They do not want Anthropic and OpenAI to get more powerful in the AI ecosystem, because then they can start leveraging it to beat the other companies into submission.
Yeah. And just like anything, even in open source, governance is the key, because it's not perfect, but at least, like you said, it's transparent. So as long as everybody's watching, you can see what's going on.
Ronald Reagan said, "Trust but verify," right? And the thing with open source is you can do that. Like, that's actually obtainable for most organizations. Yeah, there's a little bit of resources that go into it. I'm not going to diminish that. You have to have somebody in your corner that can, actually pick apart the code, or at least a trusted partner that can pick apart the code. But nobody's hiding anything from you. I have zero idea what's under OpenAI's hood. You do too.
Yeah. For
all I know, they're funneling all of my prompts to some weird place in Malaysia. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying they could. I wouldn't know.
Right. So. Exactly. And they have been under the hot seat for ethically questionable moves plenty of times.
Yep. I think I am a fan of open source growing, however that looks like. I would prefer United States open source, because I'm a proud American citizen, and I do think that's coming. I think people are looking at these Chinese markets and saying, why aren't we doing this, especially with the rising cost of tokens? But we'll get into that later. Yep. Speaking of rising costs, our next headline, a memory chip company just outvalued China's biggest bank. Tell me we're in a bubble without telling me we're in a bubble.
Free falling.
So the company in question is CXMT, and they build DRAM, which is basically Sorry, I took Patrick off. DRAM is one of the most key components of the AI space. It's memory. It's how the AIs, train. There are a couple of key things that these servers that run AIs need. They need CPU, central processing units. They need graphical processing units, and they need memory. They're the three big components, and they need power. I guess there's four. They need power too. And so if you're in one of those four areas that provide that, you can basically write your own checks right now. Now, there are some signs that there is a flashback coming, that this is not sustainable. That being said, what was their name? CXMT.
Yeah.
They announced that they are closed up 466% on their, was it their IPO or, yeah, I think it was their IPO. It was their IPO. And so, yeah, all the competitors in the Asian market, which I don't have time to get into the current state of the Asian stock market, it's not doing so great. Samsung, SK Hynix, all those guys, Micron, they all fell. And yeah, selling pickaxes in a gold rush is always a tried and true way to make lots of money. That's my takeaway of this article.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's a good place to be.
Logic tracks. The gold rush won't last forever. So I do see some signs of valuations coming back down to earth in the next 12 to 18 months. But for now, cool. That was my reaction. Like, right. Cool. I don't have time to break apart the financial implications and the risk that exposes to the global economy. I'm sure there's many things. And we someday I'll make a financial podcast about doing the economics of the tech industry and how that impacts the global economy. That day is not today.
Yeah. Well, and like the makers of the pickaxe, even after the gold rush was done, there was still a need for pickaxes. So it's just really a pivot for them as long as they manage their cash flows right. It's not like some of these AI companies that have fictitious valuations that just go poof.
No, and that's kind of actually one of the things I think is responsible in corporate governance right now. A lot of people are asking more, like, because prices are going up. Everyone sees it. Computer prices are going up. Chip prices are going up. Car prices are going up because chip prices are going up. Why don't they just make more chips? Well, because the demand is not sustainable. No company is going to go out and spend 2 to 3 years building out these new foundries for a demand that's probably going to dry up in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
they're more than happy to sell at a premium for the next 2 or 3 years and enjoy the glut of money that comes in, that they'll get to stick into treasuries and collect 4% per year for time and continuum, right? Like that's a good play. If I made $1 trillion and I stick it in at 4% yield, that's what, $4 billion a year in compound interest. Yeah. I'm happy with that, right? Like, yay! Like, let's do that. That's how you get a Coca-Cola.
What country do you want to buy in 3 years?
I mean, basically, this is one of those once in a lifetime opportunities for these companies that allow them to. It's temporary profit. They cannot sustain this, but if they're smart about it and they invest the profits correctly, you can set up empires that last a century. This is how you get a Marlboro, a Coca-Cola, an Exxon, right? Like, you just take the excess profits and invest them accordingly. Google. I'll put Google in that category too. This is their moment, and I think that's probably if you're going to take a long bet on these companies, that's the long bet.
Yep.
Okay, our final story, and I felt like this was a feel-good story, but I heard you disagree, so I want to hear for it. Okay, your family doctor can finally look at your heart, and that's the headline, and it's a little misleading, I know, but talk about this, Patrick. What's this going on about?
Yeah, I would say I'll kind of rephrase how I said that. It's like it's not a hate. My skepticism is still kind of showing through my old man thing. So this technology, AI coaching, GPS for the probe, it's helping doctors guide ultrasound systems through for heart analysis. It's doctors who aren't full-on cardiologists, because it takes too long to get to a cardiologist, but your doctor can move the little probe around and do an evaluation in your heart, even though they haven't been trained on it necessarily, guided by AI with some AI diagnosis assistance. And that's the part where I get a little bit, with it. Depends on how it's used, how it's trusted. I get the guidance. I get the, making it easier to get some of your information. But if it, again, anytime AI has a potential to hallucinate and do something really bad, I get a little bit.
But there's ways to
It's
manage
good.
that. There's ways to
Yeah.
manage that, right? Because I mean, that's one of the things of why I have such optimism. One of the few places I have optimism for AI is healthcare because they already have protocols in place for bad data. Like that is something they've been working with years. Like talk about a bad CT scan, a bad car echo, a bad blood test. Like they get this all the time where the initial results
Yeah.
are not true, right? And they have processes in place to protect against the worst case scenarios of that, right? Like repeat tests, making sure you get an extra, outside consults. Like there's a reason we have this multi-layered healthcare system here in the United States the way it is. Like it allows for redundancy. It's not
Yep.
perfect. Mistakes still happen, but there is a mentality of a conservative approach to risk when it comes to bad data that I think is prevalent through our healthcare industry that I'm okay with. Like by itself, the
Soon
technology,
enough.
yeah, by itself, the technology doesn't raise any eyebrows for me. Now, it could absolutely be if someone goes in at cockamamie and okay, we're just going to do this and starts making bad judgment calls, only based on the AI. Yeah, okay, I
Right.
hear you, right? But um,
I'll
for
concede.
the,
I'll concede.
for the sake of
It's like good.
for the sake of malpractice insurance alone, there's a certain level of risk control inside of a hospital, inside of a doctor's office. Insurance, like in all things in life, dictates so much, and every doctor understands they need to make sure their malpractice insurance doesn't spin out of control. So that's sort of one of those
Right.
fundamental facts of life. I'm like, I can rely on that. They have a financially vested interest in making sure that their malpractice insurance pays out claims.
And and to be fair, I mean this isn't really in an actual clinical trial yet. They've done some analysis on it and what it would do to the cost. So, I mean, if you're talking about a bill that would go from 280 euros to 20 euros, I mean, that makes everybody happy.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, that's my takeaway on this, right? Like, healthcare has been the most resistant, I think, to adopt AI, but it has the most. But that's a good thing. Like, it's actually had a chance to start kicking the tires on a lot of this technology for multiple years, and we're starting to see some movement. We've talked about that. Yeah,
Sure.
on the surface, we'll stay tuned. Maybe we'll get more information. I don't think this is a bad thing. I think it's just another step in the right direction. But I like when anything, it all depends on the people involved and how effective they are. Are they competent?
Yeah.
I have a
You
theme.
don't want to hear oops in the OR.
Doctor, the other side. Oh, thank you, nurse. Like that's exactly. Yeah. What?
Where did that
No.
come from? Where does that go?
Oh man, and now I want to go watch like one of those crazy Grey's Anatomy shows where it's like that's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, all right. Takeaway for this week: like in all things in life, marketing seems to prescribe reality, not the other way around. Narratives control how we perceive things. I think there is real security concerns around AI. I think there's real financial concerns around AI. Where we are reality wise, I think is way less mundane, or say way more mundane and less exotic than some of the media outlets we listen to like to prescribe. Security's been a nightmare for 20 years, and AI is just going to make us have to speed up the how do we fix the sinking ship faster. Financial stuff, yeah, open sources are coming. There's no stopping it. We've tried. I You go look up the history of the United States and how encryption, how it tried to stop encryption. It did not go well.
Yeah.
We're not really good at stopping things that are community based, and open source is just way too embedded in our mainstream technology infrastructure. I don't see that. There's no way to stop it, not without shutting down
Mhm.
the entire infrastructure of the country. So, plus, how do you, yeah, who are you
Hmm.
regulating? Who are you fining? GitHub? Like,
Yeah.
have you heard of GitLab? Have you heard of the
Yeah.
private Git repos? Have you heard of the internet and how it's decentralized?
Yes.
Like to go down the
Way too
world
easy
of
for that.
yeah, to go down the world trying to block an open source AI model, like the amount of draconian censorship that would have to occur to make that possible. We're talking a great firewall of China level crap going on there. And even if the government were so inclined to do so, which I'm not going to argue pro or con for that, the infrastructure build out for that kind of stuff doesn't happen overnight. It's a multi-decade process. So open source AI models are here to stay.
Agreed.
All right, guys, this is Artificially Informed. Stay safe, stay informed. We'll keep you apprised week by week of the shenanigans happening in the AI space from a financial, government, technological, and everyday life perspective. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you on the next one.